Hello, friends. I'm Rebecca Anderson, author of The Art of Love and Lies, a new proper romance Victorian novel. Rosanna is a free-spirited artist who is an expert in reproducing parlor versions of classic paintings. She teams up with a no-nonsense detective when she sees her own reproduction painting on display at an exhibition. It seems someone stole the original, and all evidence casts suspicion on her. As a writer of historical fiction, research is an important tool for both creating the characters and setting. But sometimes, a historical discovery in my research plays a pivotal role in crafting the story's plot. That's what happened for this book. I pulled up a website that showed a timeline of important events in northern England in the 1850s. Scanning through the list, I saw that the city of Manchester hosted a huge, months-long art exhibit in the summer of 1857. I had questions about building construction, delivery of paintings, placement of sculptures. Who decided what pieces went where? How did they light the place? What was the security detail like? How did people visiting the exhibition know what they were looking at? What pieces were on display? What was accepted for the show, and what artworks were passed over? Some of this information is readily available. Other things become fiction. With one exception, every painting and artist mentioned in the novel was actually displayed in Manchester that summer. And I learned a fascinating technology for early air conditioning. Watermen would stand on the glass roof and pour buckets of water over the panels on sunny days so the hall didn't ever get too hot. From there, further research sparked a million story ideas. I got a little giddy with the thought of placing a story in this setting because there's something so romantic about art galleries and beautiful paintings. Among other things, I studied art history in college, which fed my interest in painting and sculpture and gave me tons of material to get into the minds of my characters. I am not an artist. I'm an appreciator. That helped me as I was thinking about the security officer, a man who is in the galleries every day, but not interested in art. His only concern is keeping the works safe. What would it be like to learn to see the paintings through the eyes of someone who loved them? Sometimes we fall in love with people who show us the world in a new light. In this story, Rosanna opens Inspector Harrison's eyes to things he's never imagined. He works daily in an art exhibition, but he knows nothing of fine art, and she teaches him, in serious and playful ways, to look at the world with a new viewpoint. In the summer of 1857, Rosanna Hawkins is delighted to spend hours each day exploring the Art Treasures exhibition, where she can study beautiful and important pieces up close before she returns to her studio and attempts to reproduce them for sale through her business partner. She's accompanied by Officer Martin Harrison, the man in charge of security, who roams the exhibition with his eyes open to trouble, but rarely actually sees the paintings. As Rosanna and Martin collide, literally, in the exhibition halls, their attraction is immediate. He is delighted by her playfulness and her humor, and she would dearly love for him to sit for a portrait. There is one fascinating piece hanging in the exhibition, a recently discovered fragment of an unfinished religious piece by Michelangelo, nicknamed the Manchester Madonna by the press. Rosanna understands that even though the piece is from an early period in the painter's career, it has significance and merit. Not everyone sees the partial painting in quite the same way. Martin thinks it looks like a half-finished painting of a tired woman and a couple of strangely old-looking babies. There are other ways that Martin shows her he has a certain bias toward some paintings and against others. He knows what he thinks is admirable and, by contrast, what he finds worthless, as if art could be divided into the good and the bad. Throughout the run of the exhibition, Rosanna shows Martin new ways to view the paintings on display, sometimes with utter silliness. When she shows him the Hans Holbein King Henry VIII, she casually mentions that this is a copy of the original, which was lost in a fire. Martin is scandalized. As a member of the constabulary and the son of an incarcerated criminal, he knows the necessity of complete honesty in work as in all life. Copying a painting is underhanded, duplicitous, dishonest, and deceit of any kind is abhorrent to Martin. Rosanna keeps quiet about her day job. She realizes how her reproductions would appear to a man like Martin. In every story, themes emerge, whether the writer planned them or they simply grew out of the words on the page. One of the things that The Art of Love and Lies explores is the question, what makes something art? Rosanna doesn't consider herself an artist, merely a painter, because she doesn't create the work she makes. She reproduces another artist's genius. She's a craftswoman, but not an initiator, not an originator. She clearly has magnificent talent. Early in her artistic education, she attempted to create paintings that reflected not so much what she could see, but rather how something felt. Her attempts were met with scorn from her teachers, and she decided to do what she was good at and what was appreciated. She imitated. So now she considers herself a painter, but not an artist, since she recognizes that true artists are innovators. Another theme that arises in the story is about things not always being as they appear. In a novel that centers around visual art, the appearance of things and people is going to lead us to think about those things and people in certain ways. I think it's always good practice to take a second, deeper look. There may be more than we see at first glance. Martin makes snap judgments that are often helpful and necessary in his police work, but such quick conclusions rarely tell the whole story. Rosanna's charming business partner makes an excellent first impression, but there is greed and selfishness lurking behind his handsome face. And Rosanna herself hides her true talent beneath her disappointments, rarely showing anyone the desires of her heart. I hope you enjoy The Art of Love and Lies.